Hello Maplers, my name is Jonax, and today I want to discuss the Maple Memo which have been posted last night by Savage Sage, the product manager of Maplestory GMS. And well, it starts with: Hi Maplers, of the past few months we've made several changes to the game that exhibit the overall direction we would like to pursue for Global Maplestory. Now I don't want to read out the whole document, so we're just gonna take the important parts of the memo and discuss those. So if we go a bit further on, blah 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 blah. Decision to remove Singapore area maps and content in our V199 update this week. So as you know, as you can see, the Maplestory is currently patching or under maintenance. And with this maintenance, they're gonna remove Singapore. So it will be unable to get Ghost Ship Exorcist pets from now on. And you will be unable to get them in future. So technically Sengoku Hake's pets is still best in slot and Ghost Ship Exorcist next in line, because they are both potable badges. However, since in KMS they got the Black Mates and it drops now the new best in slot badge for KMS, I personally have a feeling that to balance or make GMS more in line with KMS, they're gonna first start with making it unable to get these badges. And personally, I think it's even highly unlikely we even get Sengoku Hake's pets in future again. We just had it, so I'm glad I had at least on my Kana and Shade on Reboot. And I already had them on Luna as well in the past, but I'm really uncertain if we gonna get this event back in future. And if we do, if the pets will still be obtainable from it and if it's still potable and everything and similar stats. So with this move, they pretty much remove one of the best in slots badges early game and makes it for new starting players a lot harder to progress and build up their damage. So personally, I don't really understand why this. In GMS vision, it's a really bad move. In KMS vision, it's making things more equal to other servers. But if we talk about other servers, one of the other servers that also has Singapore is Maple Sea, and it's still there and not being removed. I don't know if it has to do because it's part of Asia Soft and not technically Nexon. Although I think Nexon still has the final decision about game content which Asia Soft will put in the Maple Sea. So I doubt that. So I'm kind of surprised that they remove Singapore here, but not in Maple Sea or other areas. So that's the most surprising part for me. So Singapore was content that was introduced in 2011 in GMS. So we had it for 7 years. I think it's been highly successful content. And they even say that here, we believe that we have been successful in doing that so far, bringing more enjoyment and fun for our players. But with removing the content after, I think that fun is all gone right away. Especially in the initial message when people get to learn this new fact. Oh yeah, one other sentence I really like to point out is here. At the same time, it's also our responsibility to continuously change and refine content according to Maplestory. And here it goes, main content and growth flow. So main content is just KMS content. And growth flow is the progression you can book. So I have a feeling that main content is more in line with KMS, and growth flow is maybe they thought that early on it was too easy to build up your shards in Reboot. I have no idea. There are definitely different methods which you can use to build up your mesos. It's a lot slower in the beginning, but one of the things you can do is just build up your legion, do your bosses on a lot of shards until you kind of has enough funds to push to 200, get your meso gear, get your drop gear, and get the damage, and then start farming in Venison Journey and up. So yeah, that's the other way pretty much. Personally, myself, I did like a mixture of it, because I was personally not a big fan of the suicide meta, but it's another way of doing it, and I wanted to use my kind of for endgame content. So I had different views in it anyway. Yeah, with the removal of Singapore, one thing I would like to mention is that Malaysia for now is still gonna stay, so you can still farm in bye-bye farm. However, since it's instance map and you have limited instances, not everyone will be able to farm in that map, and it's by far now the best map. Maybe an alternative will be to use Alien Base. Alien Base is in New Leaf City, and it's still non-KMS items, drops same amount of meso bags. So I think Alien Base will be one of the new maps where people can move to who doesn't want to farm in bye-bye station. And there are a lot more maps there available as well to farm. But MP3 and Ulu City were much more streamlined and much more easier to get to. So here they discussing that they added 25 star and bonus stats, like it is something amazing they did. And personally, I don't agree. It's main content from KMS, and it was good content, and I think something we should have had much earlier. Bonus stats or flame stats. We have had them in EMS a few years ago, got removed with the migration, and now 2-3 years later they introduce it back. So I think it's a bit silly move, and that this is the holiness of compensation for removing other content. I don't really agree with it. The way Maplestory is built up, you have different services and each have their own set of content. It's not like other games where you have like one server for all regions and with different departments, so everyone has low latency and ping. Now we have different, in essential, slightly different game. The main line is still the same, but there are small differences. So that they mention Galax in Sweetwater, I have a feeling that they don't want to remove all exclusive content. So it seems like the ones that they want to keep is Galax and Sweetwater. Although I must say Sengoku Pets, if it ever returns, and Koshia Pets is really a big part of it as well. And yeah, what I'm mostly curious is what will happen with other GMS exclusive content in future. We have Malaysia, we have New Leaf City, we have Monad, which is never barely played anyway. I think Antelian Guardian is main content. KMS has as well, but I'm not sure about that. So there are quite some content still we have, which they don't have in GMS. Oh yeah, Far East. I really hope they keep your garden. It's a nice way to get totems at any time. And they are 30 days, so you need to keep going back to farm the totems as well. And especially now they mentioned with Patents Notes that for the first time with the Halloween event, they won't do Darkness Totems event. It seems like they're already hurting totems as well. Especially if you just started with EU Reboot and no one has ever had the chance there to get totems compared to any other service in GMS where everyone could have had totems on most of the shards already in the past. I think this is quite unfair to your players in one server, especially because it's such a new server. Okay, we had the chance to get Sengoku Bats, but only on like 1, 2, 3 shards max. So yeah, I have no idea what to do with Petzos yet with all my other shards. If you ever want to make a new main now in EU Reboot, you don't have a batch for it, which is comparable to the rest. So there's a big damage gap there between of 30% stats, and Star Force to like 15 star, because after it's not that important, because it doesn't give attack. So yeah, I'm really doubtful what the future will bring. Yeah, we are trying to identify ads that we feel are outdated. Well, it still wasn't outdated after 7 years with Singapore. So I don't think this is a bad way of describing it. Difficult to maintain from a technical standpoint. Well, Singapore was not that technical hard, because they never did any work on non-KMS maps, so that's a false statement. Or opportunity for abuse illicit activity. It is true there were a lot of botters in Singapore. However, with removal of Singapore, they're just gonna move to Malaysia, New Leaf City, or for the main game. They're just gonna move to other games. So just removing maps won't do anything against botters. So making this statement is a very, very weak one as well. So first they make a false one and then a weak statement in my view. So I'm not really impressed with the move they're making and be moving more and more to the side of KMS. I think the charm of DMS is that it is different from KMS and that it has in mainline the same game but has some parts which makes it different as well. And personally I think the badges as well as Collux and Sweetwater Face and Eye and maybe even Earring are just a good way to for mid game to move up to end game, and especially now for new charm that you have to first get your Magnus bats, and then you can't get Ghost Ship or Sengoku bats because there's no event, and then you immediately go end game to bats from the Black Mates. That gap between there is way too big, and I think with Ghost Ship and Sengoku bats, what the good thing about it is they put the bats in between, although it was still better than Black Mates bats. So I rather would have seen that they just remove potential if it was that big of a problem. Then the Black Mates bats would be better. Or if they make the Black Mates bats potable, that's another option. And yeah, speaking of content and not really have a good option, one other thing which is really missing in like Reboot as well is there's no option to get a proper heart with potential, whereas in regular service you have the option with Marvel and Philosopher books to get either Titanium hearts or Outlaw hearts, which are really, especially Outlaw heart is by far best in slot and gives a lot of stats, especially primed. So but that's after a big pay to win wall, because it's only in Philosopher books and Marvel. So personally I'm not really happy that you can't really get proper hearts just by playing the game, and that your way to get the best in slot heart is by pay to win in regular, and you can't get one in Reboot. So I personally am not happy about that situation either. I hope they will address that out in the future. And personally, I really hope that, well, the discussion or with the removal of all these non-KMS stuff in GMS, I really hope that they update in KMS so much content and also more content between beginning game and end game, that there are more equips available for mid game, so you have more choices and more ways of progressing the ladder. But yeah, that's my opinion, and I hope they will return some good content instead. But I'm really doubtful, especially as the Black Mates bats is currently not potable. So for new players, this is really hurting, and for a game that really needs more players. Overall, I think it's a bad move to hurt new players that much. All players already have their gear, but new players, they can't get it anymore. And personally, in my view, a new player should be able to get all the best in slots items compared to a player who played for a long time. Yeah, it can be behind time gate, but it should never be unavailable. But that's my opinion. And that's where I would like to close out this video. So I would really like to know how you think about it. So leave me a comment and give me your opinion. And yeah, that's it. So I hope to see you then all in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I see you next time.